two friends return to a spot in the woods where they think someone could be living. Yesterday they were playing tag in the small clearing, and it looks like somebody was close to them the entire time. A trail of random trash leads them to a morbid discovery that they now truly regret seeing.
Dude, the hand is messed up, dude.
Nailed to the tree is an old doll with black and purple clothes and white hair over its face, which you never get to see. Still, the doll gives off such a strange feeling that they refuse to touch it with their bare hands, probing it with a stick instead. One of them hangs back, but the other needs to see what's under the long white hair. He pushes the filthy doll hair aside. The doll's face fills him with regret, and he is too stunned to worry about the camera, but his reaction really says it all.
Oh my God.
Later, he says that the doll's face was completely burnt, aside from driving a nail through its middle. The doll's fingers look to have either been chopped or chewed off one by one as well. Whether this was a group of kids or a traveling wanderer, whoever rips apart dolls for fun is definitely not the type of person you want roaming around a minute from your backyard. And on top of that, I'm not even sure if this doll is safe to show, because it could very well have been cursed. A YouTuber named Piso Mojado records this zombie deer as it mindlessly spins around in circles at a public parking lot in the middle of the day. After a while, it briefly stops and has what could be considered a brief moment of clarity.
You alright there, little guy?
But then it falls over, gets up and resumes its frantic pacing. It runs in a half circle and heads towards the camera, but then it falls again and starts flailing wildly on the ground instead. The zombie deer seems dazed when it gets up a third time, like something has permanently changed in its mind. It calmly stumbles forward with a blank look in its eyes and drool falling from its mouth.
Yeah, he's foaming at the mouth.
Watching this video, it's hard to tell if this deer has CWD or rabies like the uploader claims. The two share many common symptoms such as drooling, disorientation, and aggression, so we may never know for sure. Either way, this man is lucky this deer decided to run away at the last moment instead of continuing its slow and steady charge in his direction. In the Dominican Republic in April 2013, uploader DR Local encountered a mysterious sea creature. During a scooter-powered night scuba dive, the time was 9:15 p.m., while the depth was 20 meters. The creature was reportedly bony, 3/4 of a foot long, with a small head and sharp teeth. It also had translucent fins and a purple and steel sheen-colored body. The mysterious creature swam both backwards and forwards. The dorsal fin helped it maneuver both directions and propelled it at higher speeds moving forwards, which made it appear more eel-like rather than blade-shaped. According to the uploader, what could this eel-like creature be? YouTube commenters, of course, are full of suggestions. Doom Octopus said it looked like a young oarfish, while Zane Reavers said it was a cutlass fish. Both of these seem plausible, but Sampal's suggestion seems to be on the nose. It's a hairtail, very common around Sydney, Australia, usually fished at night by a very dedicated fisherman, very sharp teeth, and not too bad to eat. Whatever the thing is, I wouldn't want to run into it in the depths of the sea at night. When you can command a door to open and close, you may just have the gift, published by the Scottish Ghost Company. In February of 2022, this investigation of an industrial complex turned super creepy when the investigators' commands were granted. The pair is alone in the warehouse aside from the ghosts. You can hear them communicating via the spirit box in the adjacent hangar throughout the video. The pair approaches a door and asks the spirit to open it if he or she is still with them.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
In answer, the door slowly swings open. A moment later, when asked to close the door, the spirit acquiesces, slamming the door shut.
Really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Many in the comments call this activity mind-blowing and wonder if it's real. Is this a portal to another world? Step on through if you dare.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
When you hear footsteps approaching your room, you'd better lock the door. Posted by Eli Walt KG to the Ghosts subreddit. This clip captures something invisible entering the Redditor's room. Turn up the volume and you can indeed hear footsteps as Eli films the door of his bedroom. Then quietly the door creeps open. While most can agree this would make a normal person freeze, some commend the Redditor's bravery while others, like Redditor B565656 warn him, have you learned nothing from horror movies? You don't walk towards the sound in the dark. Totally, who knows what's lurking in the darkness beyond that door? YouTuber NM Ghost Hunter shares a series of videos in which he's documented the poltergeist activity happening in his home. Let's take a look. This first piece of footage occurred on February 5th, 2022. This happens for a full minute, while in another room this happens. In a second clip, captured on February 21st, the poltergeist strategically destroys his kitchen. In a third clip, captured on the 10th of August, the poltergeist was making a lot of noise in the garage, so the YouTuber grabbed his camera. This is what he captured.
Evil, flick the light again.
And this is the footage he captured on his handheld camera.
Are you evil? Is that a yes or a no? If you're evil, flick the light again. Okay. Whoa.
After this, he went back inside, but left one camera in the garage filming. It captured this. And lastly, on November 12th, he captured some activity near the living room. Watch the bookshelf. Here it is from another angle. This all certainly looks alarming to me. I think this is more than enough evidence to call in the Ghostbusters. Joe Pacini is obsessed with a singer named Sarah Bareilles, and he believes their destiny is to be together forever. He makes a bizarre YouTube video ranting about how members of the occult, the CIA, and the FBI are all working together to frame him and keep this romance from happening.
Clearly these guys want me dead. We're in prison, and there's no way I'm going back to prison. Nope.
The video is hard to understand because of his disjointed, rambling logic, but apparently there was some kind of incident at the local gym, and now a police detective is calling Joe's number.
Hello.
my name is Matt Huffnell. I'm a detective with Haverford Township PD. I'm trying to reach Joe Pacini concerning an incident report that was made at the LA Fitness here in Havertown. Joe, could you give me a call at your earliest convenience?
This simple request sends Joe over the edge. Instead of calling the investigator back, Joe makes a series of YouTube videos threatening the investigator along with his entire department.
You want to try to bring me down? I will kill you and your whole family, alright? So go ahead.
Joe switches from calm and collected to yelling and screaming as he tells everyone to back off. He eventually calls the detective back and leaves a message telling him to check out his YouTube channel for more information. The police eventually find Joe driving around and immediately pull his vehicle over. According to their report, Joe backed his car into a cruiser and they took his life immediately. I was never able to find out what happened at the gym, so if you know why the police initially contacted him, then please let me know. This small outpost, known only as the Black Mailbox, is one of the many classic mysteries of Area 51. It is actually two containers stacked on top of each other as shown here. One day while filming the Black Mailbox site at random, a nondescript white car with heavily tinted windows pulls up and unlocks it. They totally ignore the fact that they are being recorded, which is something all personnel from Area 51 seem to be trained to do. Meanwhile, whoever is recording decides not to approach any closer, most likely because they thought it was a government vehicle on official business. The camera person sticks around for about half a minute longer, before presumably getting out of there fast. There seems to be many surprises for new renters or homeowners in these clips. YouTuber Dempsey7 also recently moved into this apartment. He said he rented the place without viewing it because it looked nice and the rent was low, but when he got there, he realized why it was so cheap. There are really high ceilings like a 19th century monastery in the middle of England, he said. He then takes viewers on a tour through the apartment. There are mirrors all over. All of this is nothing compared to what he found just outside the bathroom. Carved into the floorboards, you can clearly see a hatch in the floor, kitted out with a handle. Dempsey7 says he figured it was a bit of underground storage. He lifts the lid up, and it does appear to be a storage space, that is until you look beyond the surface and see that the space expands below pretty deeply. Dempsey7 guides viewers down stone stairs that lead into what he calls a dungeon. There's a corridor heading off ahead, lots of stones and discarded brick and wiring. There is a room to the right, directly below Dempsey7's apartment. On the wall is graffiti that reads, CCFC OK, judging from the flooring. Dempsey7 believes it used to be a burial ground. He heads down the corridor. Most of the dungeon is piled with rubbish, dirt, and old brick. He finds a newspaper dating back to 1984. He finds what looks like an old front door. Did someone used to live here? Or perhaps the house was built over an older existing foundation? Whatever the case, a dungeon is one secret room I wouldn't want to find in my new home. A crumbling cemetery in New Orleans is crawling with restless residents. If this scary sighting is to be believed, at 18 seconds the stone slab lays on the ground as if recently removed. 20 seconds later, this mysterious figure, to use their exact words, is caught on video walking between some tombstones. This could simply be one of their friends, but if not, then seeing a random person while exploring an abandoned cemetery is really bizarre and also more than a little creepy. They are unable to get the figure on video again and so they leave. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. This door manages to stay open for 5 full seconds before slowly swinging shut for some reason, and I want to know why. It's a lightweight door, so maybe his house isn't level, and that's why his door is shutting like that. Or maybe I just don't want to believe that his house is haunted after all. So is this an unlevel house or something paranormal? A YouTuber named LaxRebel225 is playing a video game at home when he hears something loudly bust through the front door. He's frantically looking from room to room when finally he hears it making a racket again, this time from the kitchen. When he crosses into the kitchen, nothing is to be found. Instead, he hears it again from behind. I'm not sure why he stomps his foot here. If he's trying to scare the creature away, it doesn't work. LaxRebel does a full circle around his home and ends up standing just outside of the kitchen again. He seems to get a bad feeling and hesitates. That's when this inhuman noise fills his house. The creature seems to say something in a chittering language that almost sounds like an evil laugh. Then it leaves his home, shutting the door behind itself. Maybe I'm just overthinking, but the alien's voice sounds very high quality, like way too good for the average YouTuber to edit into their video with home equipment. As much as I don't want to admit it, I think this video could be real based on the creepy laughter alone. Still, I'd definitely like to know what you think after watching this video. I'm especially looking for the opinions of people who have experience with audio engineering. What are these strange so-called light balls that keep setting this Redditor's cameras off? Redditor Spambone is wondering if the Reddit community has any theories. Well, let's see what we can come up with as well. Let's take a look. This goes on for 2 minutes. Sometimes 2 light balls appear simultaneously. Some say it's obviously a bug, others think it's a web of some kind. Still, others say it's a laser pointer or a reflection of some other light source. Practically, no one thinks this is an orb or paranormal in any way, and neither do I. I'm firmly in the spider or cobweb camp. What do you think it is? There needs to be an explanation for these strange lights. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit. Paleontologist Key440 captured the security footage in his backyard. He writes that the property has been super active since they moved there in 2016, and this footage is from May of 2021, which must mean these types of occurrences are nothing new. The footage shows lights hovering and flashing, first to the left of the frame, and then on both sides simultaneously. Some in the comments think they're fireworks, but one user remarked that there is no smoke. What do you think it is? Extraterrestrial or paranormal? I don't think either option is very ideal. YouTubers Ivnu Fozzie encountered an unknown creature in the middle of the forest. Let's see if we can identify it. It's too dark to really tell what the creature is, and the creature itself is shadow-like. But you can see its movements toward them. I really have no idea what this thing might be, but their reaction to it makes me think it could be dangerous. This video was harder to find than a PS5 before a school teacher in Swinton, Louisiana apparently leaked this creepy CCTV video of an alleged ghost sighting at 3:30 a.m. The video shows a spectral pair of eyes floating in midair shortly after the alarm system goes off. I want to know whether or not this ghost sighting could actually be a cobweb up close. With that said, the reason this video is so creepy is because this school has an advanced infrared security system. I don't think a spider web would be enough to set it off, but maybe some security camera experts can chime in and let us know. A YouTuber named Connor Does Adventure goes exploring a sewer tunnel that's been abandoned in the middle of the desert. They're kind of nervous but also in the mood to see something crazy. Little do they know what horrors are about to get caught on camera. It's a long walk to get to the old pipe and they keep stopping because they think they hear something.
It's funny. Know why you're scaring us.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Okay, it's not funny.
That sounds like it could be a frog to me, but maybe not based on what they see next.
What? Dude.
Okay. We're on. Dude, we gotta go!
An extra creepy creature slowly stands upright in a strange pose that looks vaguely human.
Dude. Stupid, why would you stand? We gotta go!
It chases them for a while on all fours, then marches straight towards them.
Okay, come on. He's coming.
Dude, he's coming.
This is beyond creepy, but it's probably one of their friends in an outfit.
Dude, do you think he can get past these gates right here?
Well, yeah, dude, look, there's an entrance right there. That's how we... Oh, shoot. Ready? Go! Oh my gosh!
After all, stopping a second time to turn around and record some more doesn't seem realistic. I think most people would be out of there and never look back. On September 24th, 2016, Corey McKeague went missing around the area of Bury St. Edmunds in Suffolk, England. The CCTV footage published in October of 2016 to YouTube by #FindCorey shows the serviceman's last known movements. From one angle, he is seen somewhere meandering down the road, not walking a straight line. He passes two men and appears to drop something on the ground, which he quickly picks up before continuing on. Another camera view shows him walking casually around a corner with his hands in his pockets. The town center footage shows McKeague enter a cul-de-sac with wheelie bins in it. This is where he was last seen. His mobile phone was tracked from this cul-de-sac to a landfill. At first, the police weren't planning to search for the missing man there, as the garbage truck along that route was only estimated to be carrying 33 pounds. Later, however, they discovered the weight was around 220 pounds. The €2.1 million investigation has not yet turned up Corey, although authorities believe that the missing man was crushed by a garbage can and that his passed away body is somewhere in the landfill, and some theories suggest foul play, but regardless, his disappearance remains a mystery. The search for Corey McKeague continues. Some poltergeists are gentle, others are vicious. Published by Find Ghost in November of 2021, the uploader of this video writes, "Imagine coming home to this." Security footage captures a large and heavy-looking sofa flip forward onto its face unexpectedly. A moment later, a piece of glass is catapulted from a display in the corner. The glass launches across the room and hits a wall. Then something seems to be horseplaying with the camera itself. It is rolled around onto the floor, while yet another object appears to be on its way to falling over on it. The scary video cuts out before the object does, but I wonder what else this family came home to. A YouTuber named Paranormal World records a weird video in a parking garage. that he claims is inhabited by a scary unknown creature. He is walking to his car when he hears some seriously scary noises coming from the other side, and that's when he says this creature was caught on camera. Something impossibly fast and low runs across the ground and makes him get into his car fast. The unknown creature looks like a bizarre sighting at first, until you zoom in for a better look, at which point the object looks pretty fake, to be honest. I mean, the legs don't even move, so I don't even know how this creature sighting could be real. I also found another video in which he says to have had a ghost sighting in the same building. I mean, the chances of having a creature sighting and a ghost sighting in the same lifetime, let alone in the same building, seems pretty rare. I will say this video looks much more convincing. That is, until 13 minutes and 13 seconds when the little ghost girl abruptly disappears, instead of smoothly fading away. What do you think? Is this video real or fake? We've all done it, almost choked on something while distracted. But what should you do if you find yourself in this position while you're alone? This CCTV footage shows how a guy almost passed away while prepping a restaurant to open. The guy is doing his rounds, wiping down tables and getting everything in order, when suddenly he slows down, hitting his chest a couple times. It's clear something is going wrong, but he doesn't seem too concerned yet. He attempts to continue with his tasks for a moment, but then realizes this is serious. Walking to the middle of the floor, he bends to touch his knees and appears to be trying to stay calm. As he continues to pound his chest and bend over, trying to eject the piece of gum that's lodged in his throat, he starts to panic. He cannot breathe. He attempts to shout for help, but nothing comes out. While panicking more and more and getting increasingly unsteady from lack of air, he attempts to give himself the Heimlich with his hands. Still nothing. He then positions a chair to give him the Heimlich, bending over it and trying to fall the right way. Having already gone a couple minutes without breathing, he does this a few times. No luck. It's starting to look like a lost cause, but at the last second, the gum ejects from his throat. He is able to stand up again and looks incredibly relieved, as he should. He nearly passed away from a piece of gum. A man in an undisclosed city hears this noise and begins recording. He sounds like he has anxiety from hearing this noise, and then later in the video you learn something very strange.
Yet again, I can hear that echoing sound, that eerie sound again today.
So obviously that has been going on for some time. However, nobody else around him seems to be upset or alarmed from the noise. Maybe this is some kind of ordinary city sound, and the uploader is pretending to be afraid as a prank. For those of you who have lived in a large city, what is this noise, and why would you hear it on and off for months on end? A race car driver finds himself in one of the worst predicaments possible when the steering wheel breaks off in his hands shortly after kicking it into high gear by itself. Judging by his right leg, it doesn't look like he hit the gas at all. The only thing left to do to keep from flying into the wall is pull the emergency brake, which he grabs immediately after fumbling a moment more with the now non-existent controls. The faraway look in his eyes at the end of it all says everything. He knows exactly how much danger he was in, and that he's lucky to still be alive. Night Owl 2007 published this video of a creepy sewer creature in February of 2018. In the video, some guys are walking along the road at night when they stop at a big heavy manhole cover and proceed to enter into the sewer. They remember how scary the sewer is, long dark tunnels, loud echoes. In order to see how deep one of the tunnels goes, the crew cracks a neon stick light and, turning off all other light sources, throws it into the tunnel. The tunnel must be deep, but the depths do terminate, as you can still see a tiny pinprick of light in the distance. As they're playing around with the neon sticks, the camera catches a skull-like face peeking over one of the crew's shoulders.
I don't think you're throwing out enough light here.
Anything?
What the f?
looks like a ghoulish mask leering behind him, but when the guy moves out of the way and the cameraman casts his camera beyond, there's nothing there. Needless to say, the entire crew springs into action, racing out of that sewer like no one's business. There is a roaring sound at the end, echoing as they jet out of the tunnel. We can assume they made it out alive, otherwise we wouldn't have this video to show for it. Do mirrors reflect reality? Or could they be portals to another world? Published by Augustina Devia in July of 2021, this creepy clip has me wondering if this is real or an optical illusion. In the video, Augustina is speaking with some guitarists on a video chat platform called Omegle. As she's chatting with the guys, something unnerving is happening in the mirror behind her. Take a closer look. The closet mirror reflects a dark shape sitting on Augustina's bed. You can also see a dark shape over her shoulder on her bed. You'd assume this was the thing being reflected, only the shape in the mirror is not an accurate reflection of the object on the bed. The item on her bed, which appears to be a piece of clothing lying on its side, doesn't match the object in the mirror, which is sat up and alert. Is the object in the mirror actually out of view behind her? But then again, if that's the case, why isn't the object on the bed positioned sideways, reflected at all? Is this an optical illusion? The more you stare at this, the less sense it makes. If you're going to poke fun at the afterlife, you'd better be willing to cross over yourself. Published in September of 2021, these paranormal investigators dive into the mystical Black Forest, a mysterious place in which the occult and other cryptic happenings occur. Here's what they found. The men immediately try to pester the spirits, preparing a ritual in which incense is burning upside down.
Yeah.
This, they say, is intended to insult the spirit, and this spirit apparently doesn't take to the insult kindly. As the group sits and waits, watching the incense burn, while a candle glows beside it, suddenly the plastic bottle the incense was placed in bursts. It flies off the altar, knocking the candlelight out as well. The pair wonder if something flew into it, although it looks more like something burst out of it. What do you think happened here? Does this spirit have a really short fuse? It's 10 at night when a sphere of light travels across the living room of a YouTuber named Play With Me. Moments later, this spectral figure emerges from the same area where the light last went off to. Its see-through body is especially visible against the dark hardwood floor as it crosses the room and walks straight through the door without opening it. There's no doubt that this is the sphere of a person, but is this editing or a real ghost is the real question. Plane is heading to Jamaica when a much smaller object zooms by at an equal rate of speed, if not faster. It's hard to tell what this fast-moving sighting could possibly be, but I doubt it's another plane off in the distance, because air control makes sure that the planes always fly far away from each other, and usually at different altitudes. Whatever this is, if it had made contact with the plane while traveling at such a high rate of speed, I'm almost positive no one would have survived. Give me your best guess as to what you think this was. I will say that I have found other similar videos taken by YouTubers flying over Jamaica, so maybe there is something strange, mysterious, and unsolved about the airspace over that region in general. Do you believe in demonic possession? This scary video might convert you. This video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community and shows an apparent possession unfolding before our very eyes. A young man is kneeling on the floor, his eyes rolled into the back of his head. The growling sounds coming from deep within him sound demonic. A couple of men stand above him, apparently trying to exorcise the demon out of him, while others are gathered around. One of the men places his hand on the possessed man's forehead. That's where the video ends. Viewers are left to wonder if this man was freed of the demon within, or if he simply continues to live with this evil plaguing him, but I sincerely hope that's not the case. What are you afraid of? What can really make you scream? This entry was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The user explains that the clip was found on TikTok. Footage shows a guy sleeping at 1:16 in the morning with the text, "He snores so loud." According to the video, the next night is shown subsequently. This time, the man is sleeping in a very awkward position, with his arms up in the air. Even stranger, the drawer from the bedside table appears to open of its own accord. A short time later, the man is in a new position, and as he turns over, if you focus on the nightstand, a bottle slides strangely sideways, falling on the floor. The man appears to be suffering from some evil spirit being exorcised, as his body contorts aggressively on the bed.
I don't know if this guy's just being asshole. He won't shut. Stop. Hey, what the f?
Whoever is taking the video leaves the room, and when he returns, the sleeping man is kneeling in the corner. What's going on here? It is suggested could just be night terrors. Others lean more towards the paranormal, however. They suggest the man is possessed. What do you think? Paranormal activity? Possession? It is certainly baffling, and I think we need more footage to fully solve this mystery. Sometimes you can see something that looks vaguely familiar until it completely surprises you. Posted by a major malfunction, this strange figure was caught by a security camera in Turkey. Watch closely to catch what it does. The small figure appears to be trailing across the road, walking upright. It twirls, at moments disappears, then is captured again meandering around whimsically. Suddenly it moves forward, then takes off into the air, gliding smoothly upward, all the while twirling in place. It rises, floating, gliding, and soon is out of sight. The timestamp says this occurred in February of 2016 at around 2 in the morning. What is this thing? Of course, theories abound in the comments section, with the most common suggestion being a helium balloon. If that was the case though, wouldn't its movements be more sporadic? And that doesn't explain its sudden reincarnation. A YouTuber named Grasshopper222 captures an outbreak of paranormal proportions in his house when he goes on a short vacation. A brand new security cam system meant to monitor his housekeeper instead records some of the scariest CCTV moments of his life that makes him come home sooner than normal. This creepy doll is the first of many objects caught moving by itself. Grasshopper222 thinks a ghost moves it, but I think someone could be hiding around the corner with a string, so I wouldn't exactly call this solid paranormal evidence. At 2 minutes, the doll appears to wave hello, so that's weird. Unless that's just where the string is tied, then it's fake. It's too bad he doesn't include video of the other room to show no one is there. Anyway, this barely noticeable glare is a reflection from where the television turns on, either by itself or with a remote control. A cushion is thrown off the couch and another object falls over by itself soon after, both of which could be on strings. But look again at how the water bottle moves, or more specifically how it lands. At 43 seconds, the falling object appears to catch on nothing, almost like a ghost pushed it over and caught it in midair. Meanwhile, in the other room, a ghost opens the door and slams it shut. Then the ghost moves more objects. A cabinet, cup, red box, and other household objects all move on their own. But there's one big problem, something that just doesn't quite add up. The camera angle looks slightly different than before. So unless the housekeeper readjusted the camera, I think this amateur ghost video might not be real after all. Then again, with all of the other creepy stuff flying around, I guess the moving camera is also well within its capabilities. Jelly Spotters is making a YouTube video with a homemade Ouija board. They barely get out a few questions before one of the candles starts to do something really weird.
W-R-T. What? You see that candle? Okay.
Jelly Spotters is not standing near any fans and all of the windows are closed. Plus, if it was the wind, then the other candles should go out as well. After a while, it becomes apparent that the spirit is using the candle to answer them instead of the board.
Do you want us to say goodbye? Do you want us to leave? Can we please say goodbye? Yes? Alright, let's go.
Based out of the southern city of DeArmonville, Exploring Alabama is a YouTube channel that takes on the creepiest abandoned places in the entire state. One such video is an abandoned church that's in the early stages of decay. Inside is a mess but still structurally sound. Some rooms are too dark and creepy for him to willingly go into, so he mostly stays in the more well-lit areas and continues to explore until he gets his share of footage. As he's leaving, something compels him to take one last look in the main room, and that's when he records it. Some are calling this a mysterious creature, while others say this is only a stray cat and nothing more. It's too far away to tell for certain, but I think it's interesting and worth talking about. So what do you think? Bright lights can play tricks on you, but this is not a trick. Published by Lane Ghost Hunter in August of 2011, this scary phantom was captured on camera in a driveway. The driveway is dark at first, nothing there. When the car turns on its headlights, the woman holding the camera gasps. That's because she sees this creepy semi-transparent figure appear against the wall for a moment. After shaking in fear, the camera steadies and the figure is gone. Do you see it? Or is it just a figment of our collective imaginations? Julia Merfeld gets into a stranger's car and they introduce themselves.
So, I guess you got a little business to discuss?
She is interviewing a hitman for hire. They discuss payment, a good date and time, and the target, Jacob, her husband. The conversation becomes increasingly creepy as they get into the finer details of the job.
You don't want him to suffer, so I'll make it quick and clean.
Perfect.
I mean, I can do it any way you want me to, but I just want to know how you want it done.
Really, whatever's easiest. If you can get him outside, that would be great. Because it would be messy in the house.
They later have a second meeting finalizing the plan. After showing the hitman a picture of the target, Julia starts talking about why she is having this done.
As terrible as it sounds, it was easier than divorcing him. You know, I didn't have to worry about the judgment of my family. I didn't have to worry about breaking his heart. Stuff like this. It's like kind of like a clean getaway. I mean, it's going to be...
I'm just going to take him head on there and I'm going to shoot him right in the face. Okay.
Little does Julia know that she is actually talking to an undercover officer, and these two videos contain all the evidence they need to put her away. The judge gave Julia a sentence of between 5 and 20 years. Let me know if you agree with this decision, or if you would have given a harsher sentence. While planting trees, a YouTube channel called Homesteading Off the Grid accidentally records the eerie cries of something shrieking deep in the forest. If you know what kind of animal this is, let me know, because many people claim this sounds like some kind of mix between a human and an animal.
Did you sound like that? Screaming at me, yeah.
Oh wow.
They don't hear anything for another 6 minutes and decide to stop recording. If this was a person, it sounds like they were in serious need of help. Nevertheless, that shriek is enough to give anyone chills. Something is manifesting in this abandoned hospital. YouTuber Lalo Escalante captured this creepy entity on camera during a paranormal investigation. The spirit there does not want to let them in.
Haz algo, pues.
Mames, güey, yo me voy a la mierda de aquí, güey. No, güey. No, yo me voy, güey. No, el tercer piso está más cabrón.
But it is there. See it lurking at the end of this hallway?
¿Qué es eso? Hola. Viste a la verga, güey. Viste a la verga, güey. Dale, güey. Dale, güey.
When they enter the room, they find nothing, but the spirit continues to play.
Aquí donde siente más.
And then they see it again.
¿Está aquí con nosotros? Hola. La mira, güey. Abajo el vidrio. La mira, güey. Cerró la puerta.
But it always somehow evades them. The spirit again disappears.
Hey, ¿qué estamos hablando? Bestia, güey. ¿Quién está ahí?
Only to make one last spooky cameo. What does this spirit want? To me, it's difficult to tell if this is even a spirit at all. It looks solid and moves like a human. Then again, it disappears in a way that's unbelievable. It could go either way for me. What do you think is going on here? YouTubers Lainey and Ben regularly document the paranormal activity in their uber haunted home. As they're taking questions from their subscribers, some of the activity happens right behind them.
Says, does it feel like a good or a bad spirit, and what energy does it give off? I think there's no threats.
Nah, like it's never touched us or hurt us, like, so I don't think there's anything bad about it. I think if anything it might be like a relative, because like it's not harmful to us, so it's not like...
First, they notice the paper towel roll.
Like it's never touched us or hurt us, like, so I don't...
Lainey seems to hear it move. She looks over her shoulder but doesn't quite catch it in action.
Like, so I don't think there's anything bad about it. I think if anything it might be like a relative.
Then the cupboard door pops open for a second.
To us, so it's not like bad in that.
Watching the camera, Lainey sees the activity behind her this time. I believe Lainey and Ben's home is haunted without question. They have a lot of evidence to back them. I just don't know how they can live with this. Now you see it, now you don't. A pale, ghostly figure appears at the end of the darkened hallway. It seems to enter from the left. The dog clearly sees it and runs toward it. Then when the light flips on, the figure just disappears. The dog seems as surprised by this turn of events as we are. Watch it again. The figure is visibly there. There's no mistaking it. So where did it go? Although I'm not sure where the figure disappeared to, I did notice something else in the video. Watch the shadow on the floor after the light flickers on. Something clearly walks past in the other room. Is it the ghostly figure or some other monster? William Sloan has no idea what to make of this paranormal evidence and is asking for help from experts because he admits he doesn't know much about the other side. He was playing with a Ouija board when he made contact with a ghost who calls itself James. William must have forgotten to properly end the ceremony because ever since then scary stuff like this happens way too often around his now haunted home.
Just rock it a little bit. Just a little bit.
Obviously, there's no one behind it or near it except for him, but the lighting is a little low, so maybe he was pulling on a piece of string to make it look like a ghost is moving the chair. Weeks later, William tries his best to harness some type of relationship with the spirit. Train it, if you will. One of the paranormal experiments is called the candle trick, and it involves trying to get James to move the candle around.
One more time.
Most objects, when pulled with a string, will glide over the smooth surface of a table. This sounds different, like it's being pushed down into the table with some amount of friction. William also claims to have been trying to get James to blow the candle out, but I guess that hasn't been caught on video yet. If you're still not sure what to make of this, you're not alone. Sometimes William himself has doubts, but whenever he does, it seems like the ghost has more scary moments to show.
I don't know. Just in a little bit. I'm not convinced.
Even assuming the sliding glass door was open, the timing of the wind gust is undeniable. Much like the candle, William says he's not convinced, and then James convinces him.
Holy.
William has saved the best paranormal evidence for last. This time he gives James a new object, a bell. He doesn't believe in modern ghost hunting equipment and believes a simpler approach will yield the best results. He rings the bell a few times to show James that it works and then invites him to do the same.
You do that. Just give me one good ring if you're there. You see that? Is that happening?
Since William asked for help, I'll give my overall analysis. I think videos like this are hard to fake. I've seen a lot of them, and this is probably the most convincing because I don't know how he could be faking ghost movement from that close. In other words, the bizarre activity is probably real. A doorbell cam video at 3 a.m. has caught some scary moments on tape that people need to see. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. A ghostly white apparition forms before the camera half a minute before 3 a.m. It looks pretty good at first, but then it kind of looks less real the longer you look at it. If I saw this phantom-like figure outside of my house at 3 a.m. like the uploader says they did, I would be absolutely terrified. Something is watching, but what that is, we don't know. TikToker Axel Loza Official shares this creepy video captured in these boys' room at night. Two boys are seen sitting straight up in bed, staring at something.
Aquí están mis hermanos. Y desde hace rato se quieren dormir, pero están viendo la misma cara que yo.
What are they looking at? Well, you're about to find out.
No sé qué hacer. No se pueden dormir. Y vean, aquí está.
A childlike face is peering out from a frosted closet window, but when the cameraman goes to open it up, this happens.
Ya está, pero cuando yo trato de abrir, no hay nada. No hay absolutamente nada. Y no sé qué hacer.
Where did she go? While I would be hiding in the comments with everyone else, I'm going to check all my closets real quick first. This faded family footage goes from heartwarming to horrifying when you realize what this father has done to become a wanted man with a $100,000 reward on his head. According to the FBI, this man extinguished his entire family, wife included, and then created a gas leak in the home. He lit a candle and the house went up in an instant to cover his tracks. This was back in 2001 and no traces of him have been uncovered. He is still on the top 10 most wanted list just in case. A YouTuber named 11 Macleod and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. Kevin Ramos is holding a paranormal investigation session at the Fort Delaware, which was in use from the mid-1800s to the mid-1900s, and is said to be ripe with spiritual activity even after being decommissioned well over 50 years ago. After a day of walking, they stop and ask a few questions to the spirits upon nightfall. Look what happens when they try to get to know more about the ghost of a person stationed here.
Did you like him? Can you cross the rod if you liked him?
First, a white apparition passes by, followed by a black shadow that one of them actually catches out of the corner of their eye. This isn't their reflection in the window because none of them are walking, and in this exact moment, this person thinks they feel a tap on their shoulder and shine a light behind them to make sure. It definitely looks like something was near them to say the very least. Why she didn't say something as soon as it happened is something I don't know. I guess they were too scared at the time. Is the spirit hiding? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Leonardo da Fuzzy. This ghost hunter is about to find out. After hearing noise in an adjacent room of this abandoned home, the ghost hunter ventures inside, and then this happens. Something is behind this locked door trying to get out.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق هذا كيف
The ghost hunter moves forward and pulls the door open, but there's nothing inside. He steps further in, and despite the fact that there's no one there, even more poltergeist activity happens.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Scaring him out of the room. He returns only for the same thing to happen again.
ايش هذا حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل
As many in the comments note, this video is from YouTuber Adventure Allah, and most agree that it's one of the most realistic hauntings they've seen. Is it real or just all camera angles? Redditor Nav in Person has another theory. They wrote, it's just the house settling. I think we can all agree that the other explanation is a tad more exciting. These two unidentified flying object sightings are eerily similar. Posted on Reddit by GamersGen, these two sightings from Miami and Beijing are comparative. The first appeared in Beijing on February 3rd, 1995. The unidentified flying object hovers as an illuminated yellow disc in the evening sky. After a while, it starts to glide slowly overhead. GamersGen posts a second video in the comments, one which looks similar to the first but was captured on October 20th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was spotted along a freeway. The driver pulled over to capture it hovering near an apartment complex and then over Miami Airport. GamersGen suggests that today, unidentified flying objects aren't seen as often for a reason. His theory? They have become more cautious, and further said, they seem to be extremely aware of us observing them, and above all, they don't want to be compromised. What do you think? It makes sense to me, and these two sightings are certainly quite similar. A YouTuber named Shahara Negron and her family have been experiencing some strange activity ever since they moved into a new place. Lately, her daughter has been complaining that her toys have been moving all by themselves, and one doll in particular seems to be at the center of it all.
This doll actually looks like, and it's kind of old, or have nothing really precious or special about it, but it just has this feeling about it.
She sits and watches the doll as orbs dance all around. It isn't long before something starts to happen.
This is some freaky. Oh, I'm about to run. What the? Whoa, what the fuck?
I was thinking that somebody hidden behind the chair was moving it, but then the recliner footrest comes out by itself at the end. As far as I know, somebody would have had to grab a lever on the side or pressed a button, but I don't see anyone. Tell me if you think this family is legitimately being haunted. Afraid of heights? Look away or this one might get you. The video illustrates the day-to-day of those who climb tall towers to work on the antennas and transmission lines of the world's tallest skyscrapers. Imagine starting out your workday with a fierce climb. The clip from the tower climber's point of view shows the climb up a 1,768-foot tower, and it's a rough one. Don't worry, there's an elevator up to the 1,600-foot point. Still, the rest of the upward ascent is nothing short of daunting. 168 feet of climbing up a ladder, carrying a 30-pound tool bag, which hangs via a rope below you. With this frightening view all around, no thanks. At the top of the tower, the climber is no longer surrounded by the metal structure. Now he's free climbing up small rungs with nothing surrounding him, should he lose his footing. I suppose this is what gives us goosebumps with these types of clips. With one wrong step, one wrong move, a stroke of bad luck, or the wrath of nature, the climber is moments away from a long fall. A YouTube channel called Sailing Latitude is boating around the Italian island of Sardinia when a freak lightning storm breaks overnight, forcing them into survival mode. They try to outrun the storm at first, but the winds are much too strong and soon lightning is breaking directly overhead. Aside from getting zapped, a single bolt would be enough to fry their navigation equipment and leave them completely stranded at sea. The experienced navigator is able to visually estimate 2 areas where lightning is striking the most, and they sail between these 2 areas skillfully. In other words, they basically have no choice but to steer between 2 storms, and in doing so they almost get trapped in the storm multiple times, like here at 10 minutes and 15 seconds for example. To make matters worse, the winds could change at a moment's notice and bring the storm clouds even closer. Somehow they just barely managed to sail through the little pocket of clear weather, well flanked between 2 storms. Hours later, a calm sunrise greets them, as if it was all just a bad dream. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by A Growing Lotus, filmed in the Inland Empire in Southern California, this redditor suspects these lights are a part of an unidentified flying object. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Is there 3 of them?
Yeah, it's like 3. What is that? But then, Mom, stars? What the heck is?
Keep recording it, because that is weird. And the way they're moving, like up and down, airplanes don't do that. Airplanes don't move up and down like that.
And it's not a drone either.
What? The other one's kind of disappearing.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Adventurous Ad 2736 wondered if they were paper lanterns, to which the uploader responded saying, "They move too fast up and down and I don't think paper lanterns can do that." And Faded Claws YT wrote, "It's probably just those drones people use for light shows and stuff," to which the uploader responded saying, "They didn't look like drones in person, but who knows? They were extremely bright. You can't tell in the video unfortunately, and they disappeared eventually. So which side are you on here? Paper lanterns, drones, or a legit unidentified flying object? Let me know in the comments."
I thought I was hallucinating at first.
And now the other one's like already
disappearing. I'm having like a really weird deja vu feeling.
Just go away now.
But the other one's kind of disappearing. Did they just disappear?
That's insane.
There's one.
There's one right there. There's 2 on that side.
Would you take something that turned you into a zombie? Please don't do it because it's a horrible idea. In October of 2017, a number of sightings were reported in Brazil in which humans were behaving monstrously, with some running their heads into windshields and others flailing their arms and screaming nonsense as if they were possessed. This video clip shows what a nightmare this can be. He pounds the windshield as well before taking a running start at it with his head. With his arms outstretched, the boy screams into the ethers, while one guy outside holds an arm out, seemingly trying to calm him. The boy continues to scream in place before trying to smash his way into the bus again. This goes on for several minutes. Whatever this man has taken to be acting this way, just remember, it's never a good idea to do the same. A TikToker named Erica R 1971 captures this full moon footage of a potential ghost sighting shortly after her father passes away. Knowing if this was a motion activated camera or not would have been a big help determining if this was a real sighting or just a glitch. If the camera really does turn on by itself like I think it does, coupled with the recent passing of her father, then I'd say this is almost definitely real. Rain pouring in an abandoned railway house in the middle of nowhere. The scene is set for terror. Published to YouTube in August of 2020. Exploring with Danny follows Danny and Luke wandering through the forest in the stormy darkness. They finally arrive at the abandoned railway house, which looks undoubtedly haunted with the lightning flashing ominously overhead. Once inside, they begin exploring. Everything is torn apart. Windows are boarded up, graffiti on the wall. Danny claims that back in the 1800s, more than 30 people passed away on the railway line outside the house. Those are shoes abandoned on the stairs. They head up to the second floor. In the bedrooms upstairs, there are still clothes hanging on the wardrobe. Danny asks any spirit to make itself known by giving a bang or closing a door. He might regret asking. They head down the hallway and find a strong lock on the door. A piece of the door has been broken clean off. They enter the room and it looks like someone has been living there. A wardrobe stands in the corner. As they look around the room, suddenly the wardrobe is pushed aggressively over, revealing a woman dressed in white with a pale face and dark hair. Hidden in the corner, she starts to approach them. Needless to say, the explorers scream and flee the scene as though their lives depend on it, because they do.
Looks fun. Can you hear that thunder? What's that noise? I hear something coming from there. Probably rats.
Imagine playing hide and seek with a mysterious cult. Published by Lego Papa TV in March of 2020. This scary video shows a cultish encounter at a house where lives were taken. Lego arrives at the house that he plans to explore on this fateful night. It looks 100% haunted. He tours the house, arriving at a bathroom in which he says the 71-year-old woman who lived here would take the lives of her victims. He says she buried them in her backyard. As he's about to head upstairs, he hears something, but he assumes it was just animals.
Probably animals because I decided to poop here.
Once he gets up there though, he hears more noise.
Hello?
While using the spirit box on his phone to try and communicate with the passed away in the bathroom, he sees a flashlight beam hit the wall. When he turns around, he sees many beams of light, and he thinks it could be police, other urban explorers, or maybe something even more nefarious. So he rushes upstairs and hides in another bathroom. Shortly after, he sees flashlight beams on the wall and hears footsteps. They apparently don't see him. After waiting in the darkness for a time, he sneaks downstairs, and while in the basement, he hears more evidence that he's not alone in the house. Footsteps sound on the floor above. He gets out of there as quickly as possible and does manage to escape. When finally safely outside, he turns back to look at the house. They are looking for him, whoever they are. Lego writes, "This is probably the scariest moment of my life. I have no doubt about that." This scary paranormal investigation comes from an unknown uploader somewhere in Russia or Ukraine. Two brave ghost hunters pull up to a lone house rotting in the woods. A haunted place known for strange poltergeist activity. The inside looks fairly normal, but being here gives them an unshakable feeling of being watched. They're exploring room to room and soon don't see much activity until they get towards the back of the house. That's when things get weird. Okay, that's a lot of scary stuff to happen at once. I counted 3 creepy things, so let's go through them all. We all saw the ghost throwing objects to the ground, so that's 1. You probably didn't see the shadow figure caught on camera seconds before it happened. That's 2. A rising cry after the ghost throws an object to the ground is the 3rd creepy thing. They are brave ghost hunters, so it's going to take more than that to make them scared enough to run back into the woods. More, but not much more. A ghost slams the door shut on a room that I guess they are forbidden to enter. Who knows what scary stuff went on back there. Strange secrets that even someone's ghost doesn't want you to know. And maybe it's just me, but right as the door slams shut, I think I see a shadow figure materialize at 1 minute and 55 seconds. Tell me if you see what I mean. Whatever they saw or felt or heard was scary enough to make them jump back in their car and never return. A large white creature has been constantly creeping around the yard of a YouTuber named Sans for a long time now, and no one knows what it is. The latest sighting happens during broad daylight, and his camera is able to pick up more detail than ever before. You can see here that the creature is not very big, roughly around the same size of a nearby dog, and judging from this dog's behavior, I'd say this is clearly a real creature and not one of his friends wearing a costume. If you need more proof that this isn't a person, watch how it scratches its head with its foot at a weird angle. No human would be able to kick that fast. I would say that this is a rabbit, but I don't really see any ears and the legs look distinctly human when it walks. Tell me what animal you think this is. Until I get a better explanation, I will continue thinking that this is probably a humanoid of some kind. Klaus finds something in his basement that's so scary. He has set up multiple cameras in his basement to try and capture it on camera. All he finds is this extra creepy layer of skin dried up against the wall. Listening to the sound the skin makes when touched is enough to make me want to peel out of my own.
What in the world?
He says it's juvenile, and I'd say that's a safe bet since it can't be finished growing if it is still shedding its skin from time to time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is a big snake. And it's somewhere in my basement.
You can see where the snake used the grooves between 2 stones to rub off its old skin and emerge even bigger than before. A Google search reveals snakes will come into the basement through basement cracks and even through drains if you have any plumbing hooked up down there. Once they're in, the only way to get them to leave is to remove them by hand or call for help. The description says it's over 3 feet long. Assuming he measured accurately, I'd say it's time to leave this one up to the pros. Curious creature sighting was caught on camera at the edge of the woods in Forest Lake, Minnesota by a woman named Stephanie Gibbons. Based on her description of it, this thing, which she says was a creature known only as the Dog Man, is undoubtedly one of the scariest things in the woods she's ever encountered before. Stephanie says the Dog Man sighting occurred around 7:30 p.m. She describes the Dogman creature as having long arms and a scruffy mane. It's too small to be a bear, and Stephanie says cougars don't live back here, so it's not that. According to her, the demon creature hardly notices them, too busy watching deer across the field. She never shows the deer, so that part of her story can't be verified. The Dogman stays still until 12 seconds when her daughter makes a noise. Stephanie says this is the moment when the Dogman looks over.
It's ear flick. Oh my god! It just looks and perked its ears up. What the f?
They accidentally zoom out so I don't see it move. Other people have said they can see it sniff the air and lick its nose, and I wanted to know if you can see any of those things happening here, because to be honest, I don't. She also posted a photograph to prove that this is a humanoid creature of some sort. It looks like it could be a person crouching down wearing a wolf mask at first, until you take a closer look. On top of his head are 2 horns and what looks like leathery wings wrapped around a bat-like body. Stephanie says the Dogman sighting is one of the many reported in the area, but this is the only one that she herself has seen. Tell me if you believe. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.